Welcome everybody to Dragon Quest FM, where we talk about and obsess over Monster Hunter Stories 3. So this week's episode is about Monster Hunter Stories 3. I guess I should say I'm Austin.
I'm BJ.
I'm just getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, I did not plan on us doing an episode on Monster Hunter Stories 3, but I reviewed it for work and it was such an awesome game that I told BJ, I was like, dude, we have to do an episode on it because it's so good and I have to convince other people to play it.
And I didn't know you were playing it yet, obviously. And so I knew that we had talked about it coming up soon and coming out soon this year, but I didn't know you were playing it already until just now. Well, not now, but
The other day, yeah.
yeah, the other day. And so I was really shocked when you were saying just how good it was.
Yeah, I mean it's so good. So if you want to read my like written review of it, that's over on Screen Rant. We can try to put it in our show notes so you can click it and head over to there and read the review. That went up on like Monday. The game is out Friday, so like today when this episode goes up, the game is out now and people can play it. Because of that, I'm not going to be sharing like spoilers. Like I'm not going to be
Right.
spoiling anything related to the story, really. But did just want to talk about how awesome it was because I was pleasantly surprised by this one. Like full disclosure, I was like had not beaten Dragon Quest VII Reimagined not too long ago.
Right.
So when it came time to play Monster Hunter Stories 3, I was kind of like, oh man, like
Another long
I'm
game.
tired. Yeah. And as I mentioned, I think like in a previous episode, Monster Hunter Stories 2 is like my kid's favorite video game
Hmm.
ever. I I played it on Switch back in the day. Naomi really liked it when back then,
Hmm.
and then as she got older and started understanding the systems more and could read
Right.
and
That
things like
helps a
that,
lot.
she started. It has voice acting, which I think is why the twins also latched onto it earlier than Pokemon because they can listen. And there's also
Yeah.
a cute little cat mascot that talks,
Right.
Navaroo. So it's like all of that is a lot easier than just reading a bunch of text in a
Hmm.
Pokemon game. And
Especially if you
so
can't read.
yeah,
Like
and I
that makes
mean,
a big difference.
and they can read now,
Yes, now.
and but like 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
Hmm.
whenever this came out, they couldn't. And but because of that, that kind of like love for this game has always just like perpetuated. And so like we played it on Switch, and then I bought the bundle on PS5, and they've been playing
Hmm.
it. When Twisted Reflection came out, which is Monster Hunter Stories 3,
Okay.
um, I got it on PS5.
All right.
And I did it almost purely. I mean, I adored the second one, but I knew my kids would love this. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh man, I've got to review it. It would be so fun. Um, and uh, I started playing it. I loved it. It was also funny because I swore them to secrecy. They were like coming in and watching me play it
Yeah.
sometimes, and I was like, you cannot tell anyone about this game. And they took it very seriously. And
Yeah.
like even Rowan, I think it was on Tuesday, she was going to be like around some kids.
Uh-huh.
And before she left, she was like, is the game out yet? Can I talk about it? And
Oh,
I was like, well, not yet, because even though like the review embargo had passed, the game's not
yeah.
wasn't really out yet. So I was like, not yet. I was like, we can tell them all about it next week if you want. And she was like, oh, okay. Um, and
How
so
cute.
yeah, so they did a really good job of just like keeping it under wraps and like it was cool seeing them because they've seen me play, whether it's tabletop or like video games,
Hmm.
like they've seen me play stuff.
Right.
But this was the first time they were just like so excited that they really just wanted to be in the room like constantly with me. And sometimes I play it when they were gone or like after
Right.
they'd gone to bed, and they would get up and they'd be like, "Oh, you've unlocked a new section," or like
Yep.
you got some new monsties. And so it was a really cool like family experience as well. But I adored the game. You've never played a
And
Monster Hunter Stories game, right?
I played the demo of two,
Okay.
and I've gone back and played just a little bit of the first one on Apple Arcade. when it
Hmm.
came out on it when I had Apple Arcade for free. But it was on the phone, and you know how that goes with
Hmm.
actual games. But yeah, I've played them enough to know that they're great, and never finished one, and didn't end up buying the second one after the demo ended. But
Oh, okay.
really thought it was a fantastic game.
I so the first one is fine. Like it's
Mhm.
enjoyable. It definitely like if you're playing it on PS5 or whatever, like just in terms of graphics and everything, even with the updates, like it it plays and looks like a game that probably originated on like a 3DS.
Right. Yeah.
And and it's also pretty simple, I feel like it's kind of like it's a kids game that's trying to like entice Pokemon
Mm.
fans, I
Right.
feel like. The second one I thought was just like a really nice improvement over the first.
It's a
Um,
very
I
good game.
heard I heard a lot of complaints about it being slow. Like my friend Cody, who
Uh,
like he was like, I thought the second was super slow. Um, and I've heard that complaint from people before. And I get it. The way that that one is set up, it's like you go into each new zone and you slowly get like upgrades. And so it's like by
yeah.
the end of the game, you can finally like fly and do all this cool stuff.
Right.
Um, so I get that. Three is awesome because you like it just gives you what you want, like right out the gate.
Okay.
So like the opening cinematic plays, you create your character. It has some really nice, character creation options. You create your character, you watch the opening cutscene, and pretty much from the get-go, you're allowed to, hop on your Rathalos and start like gliding around.
Oh, wow.
You have a party of monsties already with you. And you can, and so you can start climbing towers, you can get in fights, you can
Right.
go to like monster dens and start getting eggs. You can do like all this stuff just like almost from the very beginning of the game. I mean,
Okay.
some of it might take you like 30 minutes to unlock,
Right.
just through the story and watching cutscenes. But still, you just get all of it. It's just like, hey, here you go. And it's fantastic because like you don't have to play through what feels like too many tutorials.
Right.
The way they set it up is really interesting, where it's like your character is a ranger, so you're already like an established, you
Okay.
know,
You're
monster
not a
tamer.
new kid coming in having to learn the ropes. That's
E-
awesome.
exactly. There's a new kid that's joining your ranger crew, and so you take them out, and as like their like
Yeah.
orientation mission or whatever, and you take that out, and so it kind of serves as like a tutorial, I guess, for new people, but it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a tutorial because you're the one giving the instructions.
Right.
And so it's kind of like a cool approach there,
Good
and
idea.
then after that, it's kind of like just go have fun. And even the tutorial itself feels doesn't feel too on the rails because you can immediately start walking around the like first big open area and you can just go start doing stuff. And
You can
so
just get distracted like you do in Skyrim or something like that from the main quest.
you can, yeah. And it was tough because it was kind of like there's I would just go around, collecting bugs and like
Hmm.
crafting things, and then also it's like, oh look, that's a cool monster. I'm gonna fight it. Oh, I wonder what's in this den, and I would like go in there. And it was fantastic playing it with my kids because they are bigger Monster Hunter experts than I am. They know like all
Oh
the
yeah.
names. Like I
Yeah.
know the names of like some of the bigger ones, but like once once I go on to something else and like Monster Hunters 3 is out of my head, like I'm probably gonna forget like half the
Yeah.
names of things. And but they like know all of them. So they're like, "Oh, that's a Toby Kadachi. Like you need to be sure to get that one." And like at one point it's like you need to find a Monster that knows how to swim.
Oh,
And
okay.
Naomi was like, "Oh, you need to find," and I can't remember what it's called. And she was like, "There's probably some dens over there by the water. Go look in that.
Wow.
That's where they'll be." And just from playing the previous games, like they knew
Uh-huh.
that stuff. And so it's really cool for those of you who've like never played a Monster Hunter Stories game. It's completely different from like a regular Monster Hunter game.
It is
You're
because I don't like regular Monster Hunter games. I keep
I
trying
don't either.
and I just cannot get into them.
They're they're too slow and precise for me. Like I don't like the whole precision and slow pace of like trying to
Yeah,
actual
I don't
hunt
like the actual
one.
hunts.
Yeah. But Monster Hunter Stories is great because there's monster taming, you hatch eggs, and it's like turn-based combat.
Hmm.
The turn-based combat, it's like speed, technical power. It's a paper, rock, scissors system. So it's very easy. So you don't have, whereas like Pokemon, you have like what, 15 types, and it's like you kind of have to like memorize
Hmm.
what everything is weak against. Where like even now, like Fairy throws me off because
Yeah.
it's
After
kind
all
of, I
these
guess,
years,
yeah, but still, it's kind of like the newest one, I guess, right? Would it be
I
Fairy
don't even
with Gen
know.
6? Yeah, I think it was like the newest. And so it's just like even to this day, I'm like, what all is Fairy like strong against? What is it weak against? It trips me up. And so but this one's pretty cool because it's just like paper, rock, scissors.
Mm,
It's like, oh, that monster's using power, so I need to use, I guess, speed.
mm,
I'm picturing the wheel. The wheel is set up in a way where it's like you can just look and be like, oh,
right.
red power. So what's the one above it? Okay, that's the one that's more powerful. And then you like go
Right.
around. And so it's really easy for like kids to learn, but also like a grown man. It's
Yeah.
really nice because it's like I don't have to store all this information up in my head. It's just
Yeah.
there present for
The
me, and you
cognitive
can,
load is
yeah,
much less than having to remember everything on Pokemon. And it's
yeah,
like
and
that's one of the things that I like about the Fire Emblem games is they have a triangle system like that, where it's like hammers, spears, and swords,
mhm.
and it's where you're going to do more damage against this kind of character and like flying and all of that. Where there's a little bit more than that, but there's really a triad system that works like it.
Well, now there's also a system like that. Like the combat system is a little bit more complicated than just paper, rock, scissors because there's also you have swords, you have like bow and arrows,
Mm,
you have like the gunblade things, you have like hammers,
right.
and but and you can switch between that. You can have three different kinds of weapons on you at any
Okay.
given time. And so you have it, but the game also, like when you look at the monster, different parts you can attack on the monster, like
Yeah.
it shows you what would be weak against it. And so,
Okay.
so it's like you can know, like, oh, I need to switch to a hammer and switch to technical because it's
Yeah.
enraged right now. And so you do that in order to break the parts. You get the parts off the monster, and you can
Mm-hmm.
go and like make weapons and armor with it.
Right.
And so you can do that, and then there's also up to six monsties in your party. The monsters also have the like system of technical power and
Yeah.
speed, but they also have some of them have like some of them non-elemental damage, but then some can do like water or
Okay.
fire or lightning and everything. So you do have that aspect of it as well, but it's done in such a way that there's like all these different things you kind of have to know, but at no time does it really feel overwhelming at all.
Right.
And part of that I think is that the game does a good job of like the U that's always present in the UI, and you can like click through menus and stuff, but also it's like it's turn based, so you're not having to rush through the menus. You can actually
Right.
sit there for a second and think like, oh, okay, I need to be attacking the foot,
Right.
which, means I need to get my bow and arrow out right now. And that also
Mm-hmm.
means I need to switch this monstie up to, one of the others.
Right.
And so it keeps it from being boring and kind of keeps you on your toes, but it also does it in such a way that's like not overwhelming
Yeah.
whatsoever. Um, and I was a big fan of the combat already, but I think whether it's the combat or anything else, the thing that this this game does so well, I think, is that it takes the first game and the second game and all the things that were in there that were really good, it makes even better.
Right.
And then it also adds stuff that makes it better. And
Yep.
it's just like it's what like new entries in a series should do every single time.
Right. Like cut the stuff that becomes frustrating and actually enhance what the players want.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's also one of those things that I think this time around, I think a lot more people will get invested in it because it is a little bit darker and more adult.
Uh-huh.
Like this one's rated T for teen. There's like some
Okay.
language,
Oh.
very rare, but and it's like mild language. But there's like some mild language, and there are some like kind of intense scenes because it's set up around like a war story. So there's
Oh.
like these kingdoms. It feels kind of like Game of Thrones or like Fire Emblem or something, where there's like these different kingdoms
Yeah.
going on, but then it's also How to Train Your Dragon. and your main
Yep.
character is this dragon rider, and you're going around. You're this ranger with your crew, and you get like a woman from like a rival kingdom volunteers to stay,
Right.
kind of like as a political hostage, but on your team,
Mm,
Eleanor. And so she stays with you, and it's kind of about like your friendship with her. She also cooks for the party, so you can make dishes. And there's like
nice.
a little animation that my kids crack up at. I think it's because she does it so fast. She like cuts up the
That's what I
stuff
was
really
gonna
fast.
ask. Like, is the sound and animation worth doing over and over again? Because I
To
still
me,
go back to Breath of the Wild as being the only reason I cooked is because I loved the music and sound effects
yeah,
of
I
Link
can I
cooking.
can hear it. Yeah.
And it's like that was the best part. Like, I don't know why that is. And the same thing in Monster Hunter Wilds, I think it was. Like, I
Hmm.
liked watching the cats, I can't remember their names, make all of your meals
Felines
and
or
cut
palicos.
everything up. Yeah, the Palicos. And so is this the same way where it's fun to watch and listen to as she does that?
Not to me, it's a little long to watch every single time. The kids
Mm,
want to watch it every single time.
of course.
But for me, I mean, and I tend to be one of those people that, like, once I've seen it, like, even if it's something I like I tend to skip it most of the
Mm,
time. Um, but anyway, so the story is very much like it at different times it feels like How to Train Your Dragon. At different times it feels kind of like Fire Emblem Three Houses or like Game of
mm-hmm.
Thrones or something. And and it all works, even though it's like darker at times
Mm-hmm.
and like and more grown up. Like it still works, and it's still a fairly like kid friendly, family friendly
Right.
game. But I think having that kind of story and having these older characters as the protagonists work a lot better than like previous entries where it's like, hey, you're like an 11-year-old kid and you're gonna
Right.
go off on an adventure. Um, and so I'm hoping that that kind of entices people who would see it as like a quote unquote kids game,
Right. Yeah.
to play this one. But I mean, it's the story's good. It looks gorgeous. I don't know if you've seen any trailers for this
No,
game.
I haven't actually seen any trailers for this one. I knew it was coming out after you mentioned it. Well, I knew it was coming out before that, but I hadn't seen anything other than just the announcement stuff.
It looks really good. I mean, there's times I'm sure people would compare it to like Breath of the Wild or like especially
Mm,
because of your blue outfits or like
right.
Genshin Impact, that kind of like anime, bright look.
Yep.
It uses Capcom's RE engine, which is like a pretty, good
Mm,
engine. Even though it's not a Resident Evil game.
yeah.
But it uses the RE engine, and I had no problems performance anything at any given
Yeah.
time,
And you
and
said you played this one on
it looked really good.
PS5, right?
I did. I played it on PS5. Um, it looked really good. And this is kind of why I wanted to do an episode about this though, is because I liked the second one. So
Right.
with the third one, I was like, oh, I'm sure I'm gonna have fun with it. And I just did not expect it to be so good. Like it's
Right.
like I don't even know what to compare it to really. Like in terms of like technology, I mean, it's not a big leap like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 6 to Final Fantasy 7. It's not like that
Right.
big of a leap, but at the same time, it's like it feels like just so much better. Like I expected to like 3,
Yeah.
but I really love 3. And and when I was writing my review
Yeah.
for it, I was like, trying to do the thing I normally do, which is like, okay, this is the positives, these are the, negatives. We do like
Yeah.
pros and cons, boxes in our reviews. And I was like really struggling to come up with like negatives.
Yeah.
And like I'm one of those kind of stingy people, I guess I should say too, that like I don't just throw out like perfect score reviews
Right.
because like in my opinion, there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 game. Okay. Like, as much as I love Dragon Quest 11, as much as I love Final Fantasy 9, like, there's something that can be improved,
Right.
right? And so, like, just personally in my brain, that's how I work. But also, like, as a reviewer, I understand that that's not how scores work.
Right. You
Um,
have to you have to kind of play into the Metacritic meta, I guess, to be able to let it, you know, percolate through the system.
Right. And so this is only the second or third game ever in 5 years that I've given a perfect score to. And
Oh,
it really was one of those things where I was trying to find something to complain about. And really there's not. Like at the end of the day, the only kind of negative I could really think of, and it is an issue at times, is that the story kind of drags. It kind of peters out at different times
Mm,
where you get to a
yeah.
new zone and it's like, oh, cool, all this new stuff. And the story seems pretty interesting. But then, like, you're ready to go on to the next thing.
Oh yeah.
But instead, it's kind of like, now go do this. You're not done here. And it's like, it's a
Hmm.
game, it's a problem that a lot of games have, admittedly.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, at the end of the day, that wasn't like pervasive enough or like a major enough detractor where I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna knock points for that because otherwise, like
It's
I have nothing to complain about.
how long did it take you to beat? What's the playtime on this one? Like, because these kind of games can either be really long with high play times if you take a lot of time to go and explore early on. Well, I guess throughout where you're collecting monsters and things like
Mhm.
that versus, just going through the main part of the story. So, how did you finish up this one by? Because I know you try to collect and complete as many areas as possible in this kind of game.
Yeah, this one, I don't know. I would say that people can probably beat this one in 40 to 50 hours.
Okay.
Um,
So a
and
good
the,
solid RPG.
Yeah, the reason it's so it's I'd say it's pretty comparable to the second game.
Okay.
I feel like it's probably slightly longer than the second game, but not like noticeably so. The reason why I'm not sure is because in addition to the main story here, every chapter there's parts where the people in your crew, you can go and do side stories with them. And in
Oh.
exchange for those side stories, you get like some unique armor or weapons or like a special move or
Mm,
whatever stat boosts. And you know me, I'm one of those people where I'm like, I gotta go do a side story with every
yep.
single one of these characters before I continue the main story.
I'd be the
So that
same
takes
way.
time. There's also a really fun thing where you can, it's called like habitat restoration, where you go into a tent and you can free some of your monsties
Uh,
and you can make mutations happen and also like spawn higher rank
okay.
monsties. And I fell super hard into doing that. So like this is how I knew it was a great game. All right.
Right.
Is I started playing the game on like a Friday, right? By the
Okay.
time Sunday rolled around, like Sunday evening rolled around,
Right.
we had sank almost 30 hours into it.
Wow.
From
Just
like from like Friday afternoon until like Sunday evening, we
wow.
had sunk almost 30 hours into it.
And y'all have a
And
lot of stuff going on too. Like
and
that's not something like y'all just lay around as a family all the time. Like you're on the move a bunch.
yeah, and I mean, and we were also like and it was like okay, almost 30 hours in and I was like I think at that point like only in the second zone, second chapter um
Yeah.
of it. And I was like, yeah, I actually, as it got closer and closer to like, embargo lift and review needing to be turned in, I kind of hurried through it. But it's also kind of like a
Right.
lot of games, it's like the later sections. I don't know if it's because you're so invested at that point or if they just really are shorter, but like they feel
Yeah.
shorter. Um, so. I don't even know what my playtime is up to now, and it would be
Yeah.
off anyway because we've like the kids since like Monday, they've just been anytime they get video game time, they
Yeah.
take turns with it and just run around and try to get better monsties.
Cool.
And they're like, it's really fun because they're like, oh look, I got this S rank monstie, or they're like, oh look,
Nice.
I got this one with an S rank gene or like rainbow genes, and which is another cool thing. You can like do. You know how in Dragon Quest Monsters you can do stuff to transfer genes
Yeah.
over? Okay, well Monster Hunter Stories 3, here's another reason why it's awesome. It's like it takes the things that you complain about with like Pokemon or Dragon Quest
Hmm.
Monsters and then just is like, well, why should we do that? Like if people don't like it, we're just not going to do it.
Right.
And so like the genes, they do this thing I really like where you can take a Monstie, you can take their genes and give
Yeah.
it to another Monstie. It does make that Monstie lose that gene,
Right.
but it doesn't make the Monstie go away. You still get to have that Monstie. So it's not like
Oh, so
it's
you're
not
not
like in
sacrificing one in order to get something new. That's been the most
ex-
frustrating thing in almost
exactly.
any, like the Pokemon breeding is different and you keep them, but I never
Right,
liked Pokemon breeding.
but like in
Like
DQ
in DQ
Monsters,
Monsters.
that's one of my least favorite things. That's what keeps me, I think, from just adoring monsters as much as some of these others, even though it is Dragon Quest, is that I don't like that system where it's like, oh,
Right.
I find one that looks really cool or just I get attached to, and then
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get rid of it because I need to progress through the game.
Yep.
Whereas like even if it just sat, in my box or whatever for a
Yep.
while, like I just want to have it. And I don't
Yeah.
like that aspect of Dragon Quest Monsters. And so I like that even if I like for instance like there's canines in this one.
Okay.
That you can get and ride and everything. And I got really attached to one of them. And it got to a point where it's just like, okay, that one's not really good anymore.
Yeah.
We had like a different higher rank version. And it was like, okay, time to put that one in the party. It has like a gene I really want, so I like
Right.
transferred the gene over to it, knowing that I wasn't going to be using this other canine
Uh,
anymore. But then I still got to keep that canine, even though I knew I
right.
wasn't going to use it again, even though,
You're
I
not
could
having to
have
get rid
just,
of your buddy.
yeah, exactly. And so, like, that's another thing I really like about it is even though it has kind of like a deeper, genetic system, it's called the rite of channeling, by the way. But even though it has that kind of system, which did was present in other games too, but it's like
Right.
this one is much more improved.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just like that. I like that you get to keep them, that you can take the genes, but you can still keep that Monstie
Yeah.
if you want.
And is there like a box system on this one where you can keep a lot of the ones that you end up taming, or like keep it in a pen or something like that, or is there a limited amount of space where you do end up having to choose between the ones that you want to care for and carry along with you?
Um, so sorry, I have to tell you this because this is about you too. Um, So Platty, for anybody that listens to Slime Time podcast, he just texted me
All
and
right.
he sent me a picture of his autographed copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Ah, that's awesome.
He said he'd heard us talking about the books, and he said a buddy works at a restaurant at the Portland airport right next to a bookstore. And the author walked in and signed all the copies of his books.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's really awesome.
I thought you would
I
appreciate
would
that.
I would like that. I would like
Um,
one, Platty.
um, but I lost my train of thought now. What were we talking
About
about?
whether you could keep them on in like a pen or have a limited amount of monsters that you have to end up sacrificing some in the end just because of space, or can you keep all the monsters that you like?
Okay, so there is space. We never came close to. I think it's like 700 monsties or something like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's something outrageous, but because we got really gung ho about freeing monsties in the habitat restoration and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that, like we were always like freeing monsties to try to get better ones and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And even like now, like with my kids going so gung ho into like finding eggs all the time,
Yeah.
um, it to my knowledge we haven't gotten it, so you can just go to like your the little feline
Mm-hmm.
that hangs out at the stable,
Right.
and you can like look at your party and you can edit your party and look at all your monsties and stuff like that. um
Right.
and so but it it was really funny because like my kids would tell me as I was playing it, and I would find an egg, they'd be like, "Oh
Right.
no, 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 you've got more time before the monster attacks. Like try to find a different egg." Or like we get the shiny ones and it's like, "This is a very potent blah 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 egg." And they'd be like,
Okay.
"Oh, you got to get that one. You got to get that one." And then like it doesn't always tell you if you haven't found it before. It will be like, "This is like a red wyvern egg." And it's
Right.
like you take it and it turns out it's like a pink Rathian, which is like a mutated one from the first region.
Okay. Yeah.
But they like knew that. Like me out playing it, I would have just been like, "Oh, red wyvern. Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's what it's called." but it's like that's like your hint that it's like a new type.
Mm,
And then we got like through mutating, we got like a Dread Queen Rathian, like this
okay.
like black Dread Queen Rathian, like
Nice.
very early on in the first section of the game. And again, 30 hours in one weekend. And
Yeah.
so we did that, and like and the kids were just like, oh, you gotta have that. And it was a very strong
Yeah.
monstie. Um, but it was like an incredible experience, and that's why I wanted to do an episode on this is because of I know people who listen to this podcast like RPGs and like
Yeah.
turn-based RPGs, and a lot of them like monster hunting, catching games.
Right.
Um, and this was just like a really good monster taming game, and like I love Pokemon. Pokemon, there's some right behind me here.
Yeah.
I love Pokemon. I love, DQ monsters. Yokai Watch. I like, adore Yokai
I
Watch.
was actually thinking about Yokai Watch when you were talking about this on how much you liked the ones that you've played through so much earlier on.
Yeah, and like I think that like with Monster Hunters 3, like Capcom in general is just really setting itself up to have like the best monster taming
Hmm.
like game and franchise on the market. Is it ever going to be bigger than Pokemon? Of course not.
No, never.
But in terms of just actual quality, like I'm just infinitely impressed. So I,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a demo or not,
Oh, I can't remember
but
about three. Let me see.
if there's a demo of Monster Hunter Stories 3, definitely check it out and see what you think. Capcom should have a demo for it because I think it would get a lot of people to buy the game who maybe wouldn't otherwise.
There's a trial version, and the main
Fantastic.
website says transfer your save data to the full version.
Oh, so
So
it's like the perfect demo.
so
Yeah, you
do
can
it, y'all.
transfer it over. Like, definitely do it. Don't just take my word for it. Go and check it out. Um, I think anybody listening would know that, the first part of the game might be a little bit slower, but like if you played the other ones, getting to hop on a Rathalos and just fly pretty much immediately in
Yep.
this game, or glide, I guess technically, like was just so awesome. Like I did not expect that to be the case,
Right.
of just getting to do that from the get-go. And it's very good, and it was good enough that I gave it a perfect score, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do a whole episode on this just to tell people how awesome it
Yeah.
is.
And
Like it's
like the
very good.
message that you sent me was like, this is my favorite new Monster Hunter game. Like not Monster Hunter, a
Monster
monster
taming.
taming game.
Yeah,
And
I really think it might be.
that's saying a lot because you have played an absolute crap ton of them on top of having some really being really really passionate about how
Yeah,
good a lot of these have been that aren't the most recent Pokemon games, but like Yokai Watch that you had mentioned. And so to have this one kind of just come out of nowhere and like rank at the very top of it was really surprising to me because I knew
yeah,
you loved the second one, but it was never one of them that just hit, top tier. Like, and it was top tier, but it was never one like you talked about that much after it went on. And I
right.
think
Yeah,
this one may be.
yeah. The second one was good. Um, the third one is definitely better, and I think, the first one's good. The second one, I would even say is great, but this one is just like fantastic. So everybody go play the demo, buy the game. BJ, go
Yeah.
play the demo. No, you
I'm
got to go beat Dragon Quest
I
7
got to beat Dragon
first.
Quest 7 first. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
had so little game time recently that I'm still where I was. Like it is sad the amount of time I've had to play video games.
yeah. Um, Anyway, I know we're almost out of time, so thank you guys for listening to this. If you play the demo or play the game itself, please let us know what you think of Monster Hunter Stories 3. Um, and remember, you can chat with us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Dragon Quest FM. You can also leave comments on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@
At
DQFM.
DQFM.
Please also subscribe to it because we're bad at YouTube. Subscribe to it. Tell your friend to subscribe to it, and tell like your mom to subscribe to it. Um, if everybody who listens to this podcast just subscribe to it, like I think we would be in a good place.
Yep.
Uh, if you tell your mom and your friend, then we would definitely be in a good
Definitely be
place.
in a good place.
But also you can leave comments on Spotify, where you can find us. And if you want to talk to me personally, to tell me how right or wrong I am about Monster Hunter Stories 3. I'm at on Twitter and Blue Sky at Dragon Quaston.
And I'm on Twitter sometimes as BJK Games, Blue Skies, bjkgames.com, and Instagram as bjk.games. And you can always go to Patreon and support the podcast at patreon.com/DragonQuestFM.
Yes, and huge shout out to all of our patrons. We really appreciate all of you guys.
You're the most wonderful
And
people.
we'll see you guys, our Patreon patrons and listeners, everybody, next week for
Yep,
another episode. Thanks,
absolutely.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.